Hi, thanks for coming back and joining us. I'm Donna McMullen, your host from BRMC, and Sherry McGoldrick, our infection control person, is here with us today. And Sherry, we were just getting ready, we were talking during the break a little bit about influenza. Let's educate folks about what we all lump as the flu.
As the flu. The poor flu, it catches everything, okay? If we have respiratory problems, or if we have, stomach, the nausea, vomiting, and everything, I have the flu, okay? Not probably true. The influenza virus is just, it's separate own identity, okay? And there are basically three kinds of the influenza virus. Humans have it, pigs have it, and birds have it. Okay. And so it's a separate a virus of its own. And it's very unique when you have the influenza virus, the true flu, because it hits hard, it hits fast.
Okay.
You'll usually run a temp up from 102 to 104.
Oh my goodness.
You will want to lay down because of the body aches. You can have some congestion. You can have a little nausea, but that's not the main thing that comes with the flu. It's probably the fatigue and the exhaustion and the body aches that come along with the influenza and the fever. And if your hair hurts, you have the influenza, the true influenza virus.
If your hair hurts. All right. So we're talking about toes to nose and up to your hair.
Yeah, right.
Colds don't usually have a fever, do they?
No. It's very rare with a cold, and the other thing is with the cold, you're going to have more of your runny nose and your stuffiness there. You can have some chest congestion. But the bad thing with the influenza is with the chest congestion, it can go into bronchitis and into pneumonia. Okay. More so than with your cold virus.
With your cold virus. Okay. And for those of you just joining us, the main thing you need to remember is wash your hands with soap. The antibacterial foam that you have is great, but if you have the opportunity, go ahead, use good soap and water for at least 15 to 30 seconds and really get those hands nice and clean and get those germs, those hitchhikers. Get them off.
Transit bacteria off your hands. Another thing with the hand washing, and it's brought up to me a lot, is we use the antibacterial soap at our facility, but that's because we are dealing with those viruses and bacteria on a daily basis. And people say, do I need to use the antibacterial soap at home? My suggestion with that is if you have some type of illness going on in your home, to use the antibacterial soap. It just gives you a little extra edge of getting the transit bacteria off. And another thing, Donna, while we were talking about the influenza, and one of the things in the home that people can do to help try to transmit it from one person to the other, the influenza is transmitted through air droplet. It comes out from the respiratory tract and it goes down. Now, most people don't really come up and cough or sneeze directly in your face, okay? But what they do is they cough and sneeze and they get it on their hands, the hitchhikers. Then they touch an inanimate object. We come through, we touch it, and then we touch our nose or face, and we usually give it to ourselves. If one family member gets it, you can count on probably the majority of them coming down. But there are some things. You can get the antibacterial soap. And the other major thing would be whoever is sick in that home, have them have their own hand towel.
Their own hand towel, okay.
Because
kind of isolate them a little bit if you can, too.
Well, they're probably, if they have the true influenza, they're
in bed.
They're there. And but with using their own hand towel, they feel bad, and they're probably not doing a good job washing their hands, especially after they go to the bathroom or whatever. So if they have their own hand towel, if they're transmitting the virus to that hand towel, and they're the only ones using it, you have a better chance possibly of not transmitting it to the rest of the family.
Good, easy solution to not transmitting those germs.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that they can do as far as, let's say, Kleenexes, that kind of thing. Throw them in the trash. Don't stuff them. I can always remember my mother stuffing them up her sweater.
Sleeve or down in her pants. Yes.
Use it once and get rid of it.
There you go. There you go. That's one of the main things. Sandy Preby, you know her, our risk manager, and she's technically my boss, and everything. She did a PowerPoint several years ago about influenza and the 10 top things to do to help to prevent it, and then if you get it, what to help lessen the effects of it. And I think one of the number 10 one, of course, I think is cute, is if you have someone that's ill in your home, don't be kissing them. Give them a Hershey kiss, okay? All right? And, and the other thing is, you know, we're told vitamin C, all right, orange juice. The vitamin C won't hurt you. Okay, but one of the main things with the juice is hydrate you. Like with the influenza or even with a common cold, you get dehydrated. So in the mucous membranes, they dry up. So you want to keep good and hydrated. So orange juice is good. And the other thing is like chicken soup. I know every time that I get sick, my family, have you got the chicken noodle soup? Yes, I've got the chicken noodle soup, okay? Well, there's a study that was out last year with a American College of Chest Physicians, and they did a study on chicken soup and the effects that it might have on the cold and influenza. And basically what the summary of it was is that there are some enzymes in there that helps with the sinus membranes. And the other thing about chicken soup is it kind of makes you feel wanted and warm because your mother made it for you, okay? And it hydrates you. It keeps you hydrated. And the good point that you brought up about the Kleenex. Women have a tendency to want to hang on to them. Don't. Throw them in the wastebasket. Don't put them on the table. All right, throw them in the wastebasket. Men have a tendency with their handkerchief. So you have the virus and it's there, all right? So every time you use it, you're just possibly reinfecting yourself. So do the Kleenexes and throw them away. Do the Kleenexes.
And how about, you triggered a thought as far as toothbrushes. You can reinfect yourself with your own toothbrush, I believe. So
anything that comes with that upper airway secretions that you come in contact with, you could possibly do it again.
Okay. Yes. So go ahead and
throw it away.
It's okay to go out and get another Oral-B out there and
get another toothbrush.
And get another toothbrush. Don't keep reinfecting yourself. Is this why some folks, their colds, if it's truly a cold, not the flu, but a cold, just seems to linger and linger and linger? It's that it's actually they're kind of reinfecting themselves?
Well, could well be, you know, but if they're using the Kleenex, you know, and everything like that. And another thing, I think it has to do with their immune system, okay? If your immune system is up and you're fairly healthy and everything, you can fight that virus off a little bit better if your immune system is not up to where it should be.
Not compromised, so you can go ahead and it'll fight itself off.
And do it a little bit more, So,
my goodness. So, anything from the Center on Disease Control that you've heard of this year as far as any flus lingering out there that we need to concern ourselves with, like we did a couple years ago with the H1N1?
No, nothing that, any reports that, and I report to the Arkansas Department of Health on a weekly basis all the influenza-like illnesses that we're seeing through our emergency room. They give me that report, and it's been very sporadic through Baxter Regional. We have had the influenza-like illnesses come through. We've had some positive influenza. We have a rapid read test that it's an oral swab that we do that tells us either it's influenza A or influenza B. But, and Dr. Sandra Snow, who is the state epidemiologist, she sends out a letter on a weekly basis, and during this period of time it has a lot to do with influenza and the map as far as the counties and everything. We're about where the rest of them are at. It's been very sporadic, nothing real major. But our most important thing that I was about not to forget to say is vaccinate. Get your flu vaccine. okay? That's the number one way of preventing the transmission. And especially those that have to deal with family members that are ill or immune compromised, they may not be able to take the vaccine. But if you take the vaccine and those others in your family, you help protect them because you don't get sick.
Right. Right.
So the H1N1 like illness, influenza virus is in this year's vaccine, 2010-2011.
Okay, so it's already in there.
It's already in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know we've all had our shots.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we're all chugging along because we need to stay healthy. I'm not clinical, but Sherry certainly is and needs to be there to help take care of the patients. So, but our philosophy at the hospital is we need to stay healthy and strong to take care of those that are not.
And not transmit it.
Yep, and not transmit it. So.
Yes.
What else can we talk about today that keeping germs away from everybody?
Well,
have we missed anything? I'm trying to think if we've covered from kindergartners all the way up to...
Yeah. I think perhaps one of the major, not major things, but something that we do differently at Baxter Regional and any healthcare facility is CDC has what's called standard precautions where you treat every patient the same way, okay? And then you have a transmission-based precautions. And those are patients that have been diagnosed with a communicable or an infectious disease process. Okay. And those that may visit the hospital or may have been a patient in the hospital, we put them in precautions, transmission-based precautions. There are 3 types. There's the airborne, where it's in the respiratory, but when it comes out, it is carried by the air, okay? Tuberculosis is the most prominent bacteria that we have to deal with that's airborne. Now, air droplet, as I said earlier, your influenza, chicken pox is transmitted air droplet. It comes out and it goes down. With our airborne, we put those in our special ventilation rooms. We have negative pressure. Negative pressure ventilation rooms. Okay. Goes through a HEPA filter, okay, the air in that room. Now, air droplet, because it's not transmitted through the air, you can't breathe it. You have to be in within 3 feet for it to be transmitted to you. We put those in our rooms, but we have isolation door caddies, and those that visit, you'll probably see them hanging on the door, and they have the gowns and gloves and masks, and they have a sign on there saying what kind of precautions and what is called personal protective equipment you need to place on before you go into that room. Right. And the same thing with contact precautions. That's where it's on the skin or it's in the environment. The isolation door caddy is on the door that instructs that. So any of our visitors that are coming and we have a patient that's in precautions, the most important thing is to do the personal protective equipment that's listed on the door, but also to take your gloves off and wash your hands before you leave the room. Sure. Sherry, thank you for joining us today. You are a wealth of knowledge. We are so delighted that you would come and share this with our viewing public today. We want to thank all of you for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connections. And thanks again. We will see you in the new year. Happy New Year to everyone. We'll see you in 2011. Thanks. Bye.